Good morning and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. You can ask any questions in the comments or you can use the hashtag which is QBATE, QBATE on Twitter. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do your best to engage with it, and I'll reveal the answers right at the end. We produce Ask the Expert based on your feedback, and so far, a massive 1.2 million of you have tuned in from the UK, and our global syndication has helped another 3 million small business owners in these challenging times. I'm delighted to announce that this week, Ask the Expert has won not one, but 2 awards in the Drum Social Purpose Awards. Firstly, for Best Content Marketing Campaign, secondly, for Innovation of the Year. These awards take us to a total of 17 award wins, so thank you so much to everyone who's been tuning in. Couldn't have done this without you. So I'm going to introduce myself and tell you a bit about my business. I'm Andrew Bloch. I'm the founder of Andrew Bloch and Associates. Actually, I won an award myself this week from Intuit, which was for the most adapted business of 2020. So firstly, thank you so much to everyone at Intuit QuickBooks. It's an honor to receive something like this. And as you can imagine, starting up a business during these times is not easy, it's tough and it's challenging. So I thought I'd use the next few minutes just to tell you a little bit about how it all came about and what I've been up to for the last 6 months, and then we can go into some questions from you, the bit that is most enjoyable for me. So I'm probably best known for co-founding an agency called Frank, which is one of the leading consumer communication companies in the UK. Founded it 20 years ago in September 2000, and at the turn of this year, it sort of reached the 20-year milestone. I kind of just felt that the timing was right. I can't really put my finger on why, but the agency was in a really good place, doing some really, really good work. There was a great team in place, and it just felt to me like the time was right to set up something new. So I agreed with the board of the company that I would move into a non-executive position, which effectively meant that my day-to-day duties I was relieved of. And I set about setting up something new, and I didn't really have much of a plan, if I'm being honest. I knew what I didn't want to do, and that was really things that I didn't enjoy. I felt I was at a time in my life where I could be a little bit more selective in terms of the work that I took on, and I set up Andrew Bloch and Associates, which launched in May, so currently kind of approaching, I don't know, 7, 8 months. I've lost count. And I'm a consultant in the marketing and communication services space. My work really falls into 3 areas, which I'll tell you briefly about. The first is advisory boards, and I've taken board positions with 3 companies. The first is Propel, which is a fast-growing software business that serves the PR and SEO community, helps them identify media, outreach to them, monitor the results, look at how it's impacting businesses. The second is a business called Phoenix 51, which was set up by one of the winners of The Apprentice, Lee McQueen, who won the show, I think it was 2008. And that's a business that is a virtual recruitment and assessment business. And both of those businesses are SaaS businesses. I help them with their marketing, how they communicate, their look and feel, their messaging, as well as on the business side and growth and business development. The third business that I joined is called PCB Partners, and that's a mergers and acquisitions business. And the last 6 months in particular have been particularly busy in the M&A space. And I work on, first of all, the buy side, which is working with management consultancies, marketing services groups, and helping them identify companies that they want to acquire in order to sort of build out their portfolio and their breadth and their strength in certain areas. And then on the sell side is helping agencies sell and find good partners, achieve a good exit. So those 3 areas have been and working for those three companies been really, really interesting for me, helping use my experience of the last 25 years working in the marketing services area to help other companies. One of the things that I also continued on from my time at Frank was my work with Lord Sugar, who I've worked with for 20 years. And for him, I help him with everything on the personal front, everything from being a spokesperson for him through to helping him with commercial deals and everything like that. And then all of the apprentice winners that have come off the show, I help them set up their businesses and help them with their PR and making that transition from TV personalities into credible business people. So that's the first area. The second area is working with brands, agencies, and celebrities. And for brands, I help them with their communication needs, help them find the right agencies. For agencies, I help them meet and win new clients. And then on the celebrity side, I work with celebrities to help them build out their commercial portfolios and attract new clients that they can align their names to. I've also partnered with the AAR, which is one of the biggest intermediary companies in the UK, and I help them on the PR side. I've become their PR partner, so helping brands find the right agencies, facilitating pitch processes, and seeing that through to the successful appointment of an agency to help them with what they want to do. For some clients, I've stayed involved, got a little bit more into the weeds of what they're doing. One of the things that I've really enjoyed doing over the last couple of months is working with Tide Bank on the Tide charity, which is a fund that they've set up to help small businesses that are struggling during the pandemic and allocate funds. And I developed a partnership with the Daily Mail and the Federation of Small Businesses, and then brought on board Karen Brady to head up, become a spokesperson for the campaign. And that's been a huge, huge success and something that I've really enjoyed doing. And then the final area was really something that I felt passionately about when I stepped back, was being able to put my skills to good use. So I've got involved in a number of not-for-profits and charity organisations and helping them. So I now sit on the business launch group of the Prince's Trust, and I help young business people develop their business plan and assess whether they're viable and suitable for funding from the Prince's Trust. I have also been doing a lot of work with a breast cancer charity called Future Dreams. The thing that I'm most proud of in terms of what I've done for them was a partnership called Let's Nail Breast Cancer, where men were encouraged to paint their nails pink to raise awareness and raise funds. And I managed to get Ronnie O'Sullivan to paint his nails pink during the English Open, which attracted so much attention, global media coverage, lots and lots of funds. And then finally, I've been working, as I have done for the last 10 years or so, with the School of Communication Arts as a mentor, and they're one of the leading ad schools in the UK, the most awarded ad school in the world. So helping their students, mentoring them, giving them tips and advice. So that has been quite a lot that's been going on in the last 6-7 months. It's been a really exciting time for me. There's been lots of learnings along the way. I've obviously had to adapt my knowledge, my skill base, and try and put that to good use. But it's been a brilliant journey. I don't regret making the decision, even though the timings of it may seem sort of strange, difficult. One of the things that I've found is doing stuff during times of adversity actually brings out the best of you. It forces you to really think about what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you're going to make the most of what on the face of it is a pretty difficult business trading environment. I think what I'm going to do now is open up to some questions. I can see a lot of them coming through on my screen. I haven't seen these questions before, so I'm reading them for the first time, and I'll do my best to answer them. So the first question is from Elwyn, which has come through on Twitter. Hi, Andrew. Is getting publicity in the media possible for small business? I don't have the budgets to hire an agency or even a freelancer. Well, the simple answer to that is yes, of course it is. Getting publicity is achievable for any company, however small or large. And I think the key to it is understanding what you want to say and who you want to say it to. The key to any media coverage is something interesting. So what you need to do, and obviously, Owen, I don't know what your business is and what you're doing, but you need to figure out what makes your business different to any other business, and why would media want to write about you? Is it a new product, a new service? Is it something that you're offering? If there isn't something inherently newsworthy, then you need to think about how you can create something newsworthy. How can you create a story that has human interest to it, has genuine value that will make people smile? Is it giving back to the community? Is it an initiative you get involved with? And then, what you have the power to do is use your own channels to start to communicate that. You can reach out to media via Twitter or any other means, really. But yes, publicity is within your hands. You don't always need an agency or a freelancer to help. Just try and commit some time to making it a focus for what you do. It's not going to happen by accident. You have to put the effort in, but if you put the effort in, you will get the rewards. Ricky from Instagram Stories. What's the difference between consulting and mentoring? I'm not sure really what the official difference is in terms of the way that I would define it. Really, for me, mentoring is something that generally I do on a voluntary basis. It's giving help, advice, support, and being there for somebody. Consulting tends to be a little bit more formal. You're paid to do it. But essentially, you're kind of doing the same thing, really. I see mentoring more as something that I do as a way of giving back, and consulting as something I do to make money, to be completely honest. Nilofer, this has come through from Facebook Messenger. We're planning to launch a new app. We bet all our budgets on generating word of mouth within the online community by working with online content creators. How do we get the technology media to review our product? Well, I think your bet in terms of working with an online community to sort of build out the message is a good one. And hopefully that will grab the attention of media. Again, I don't know what sort of area your app's in, so it's hard to be specific. Media reviewing product, again, going back to what I was saying to Elwin and his question earlier, it's important to realize what's different about your product. And that's the key thing to point out to media. Is it something that's genuinely newsworthy? Does it find a point of difference from other competitors? I think for media, it's important to shape and frame what you're doing. So quite a sort of easy way of grabbing attention could be to say, we are the Netflix of this particular sector. We are the Airbnb of this particular sector. And then it helps in media's mind to frame the area that you're in and what it is that you're trying to achieve. Again, sort of search out on social media the people that are writing about your area, your industry, and then just approach them. And nowadays, I think media are pretty open to informal responses. If most of your community is, for example, on Instagram, don't be afraid to reach out to media on that platform. Look at your competitors and who's writing about them and approach them. Largely a lot of PR is common sense. Okay, so next question. This is from Morgan. It's on Facebook Stories. I've just started my own company a few months ago and find myself working late all the time. Do you think it's possible to build a successful company and career and have a work-life balance? Look, honestly, I think that is a fantastic question. And for me, it's always been an area that I've found very, very difficult to manage. I think for any entrepreneur that is running their own business, your work becomes your life. It's your passion. There's a connection to it. And it is very, very hard to switch off. You have to be respectful of your personal life, and whether you're married, got a girlfriend, got kids, you need to make sure you have time and try and separate to the best of your ability work and life. And as I say, it's something I've always found very, very hard to do. I don't believe you get anywhere without hard work. Very few people have achieved success via sitting on their ass. You need to put in parameters. So, in an age where you can be connected and contacted at any hour of the day, don't always feel the need to reply immediately. Try to take control of your phone, your inbox. And for me, I try and set certain parameters. So, once it gets to sort of 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, I'm done for the day. I won't respond till the next morning. And people understand that. And I think, if you make yourself open to being available at any hour of the day, that will get abused. And it's particularly difficult, I think, during this period of the pandemic where a lot of us are working from home. There's not much to do. We're in a lot of the time. And the temptation to just sort of work into the night, work at weekends, is there. And you have to have a level of self-discipline. I mean, again, for me, weekends are important, and I always try and carve out that time for myself, for my family, and try not to be distracted. But it is possible to do. I think it's something you have to make a conscious effort to do. Otherwise, work can take over your life, and that's no fun. Next question from Mandy, which has come through on Twitter. Hi, Andrew. I run a small creative agency. One of the biggest challenges I face is losing on a pitch that we were absolutely sure of winning. How do you get over such lows? And more importantly, how do you get the team to get over it and continue with business as usual? Look, I think running any agency, there are going to be ups and downs. For me, my personal philosophy has always been, don't get too high on the highs, don't get too low on the lows. They're going to happen. You need to brush yourself down and just get on with the next pitch. I think always try and understand why you've lost something. Sometimes you'll enter a pitch and, we've all been there, we put everything into it and we don't win it, but there's always a reason for that. And try and take the time to get feedback from a client as to why that decision has been made. Sometimes, the decision is pretty arbitrary and there's nothing you could have done about it, but often you can learn from it. And I think in business, it's a little bit like a football team that when they go on a winning streak, it just seems to continue. Confidence is built and you almost go into the pitch feeling like you can't lose it in business sometimes because you've had such a good run. And equally, I've been there through periods where we've lost 3, 4, 5 pitches in a row, which is really, really tough, but you need to try and break that streak as soon as possible, build the team up, help them learn from what they did wrong, and just brush yourself down and get on with the next one, because you will win again, and you just have to face it. There is no agency, no consultancy in the world that's won every single pitch that they've gone for, whatever they might tell you. We all have losses, and sometimes they're really hard. I mean, I've had pitch losses where, I'm still sort of sad about them today. And sometimes don't be scared to go back to a client and try to get them to change their mind. If you really, really believe in what you've done is right and that they've made the wrong decision, I'm a great believer in challenging a client's decision and seeing if you can reverse it. Obviously not for the sake of it, don't do it every single time, but if you feel like you were right and you shouldn't have lost and their decision is wrong, then challenge it. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. Jamie from Instagram Stories. What should I look for when hiring a PR agency? It's a good question. It's a difficult question to answer. And it does depend very much on what you're looking for them to achieve. I always think a great way to hire an agency is look at work that you admire, that you've seen out there, maybe for competitors or companies in similar industries, and find out who the agencies were that did that work. That's, for me, the best way of seeing if someone can walk the talk. Also, hire appropriately for the level of business that you're at. If you're a very small startup, it probably doesn't make sense when you probably can't afford to hire a big global agency. And on the flip of that, if you've got a substantial piece of business, you need to make sure that the agency that you're employing is equipped to handle that level of business. Ask for recommendations as well from peers, from friends, even from competitors is a good way of doing it. But for me, the best way to do it is to look at work that you admire and that is similar to the work that you want to achieve. Okay, Milo from Twitter DM. What's the best career advice you've got? Oh, gosh. I'm not sure if I've ever had one single piece of career advice. I've been fortunate enough to work with some amazingly talented people and peers in my industry. So I'm not sure it's a single piece of advice. I mean, I'm a great believer in, if you've got faith in your ability to do something, if you work hard, then you will get lucky and the success will come. And I try and soak up as much as I can, to this day. You never stop learning. So I get my advice from all sorts of random places, reading business interviews, listening to podcasts, and just engaging with interesting people. I think it's always important to listen as well as to talk. So sorry, it's not one sort of bit of advice that I can think at the moment. Work ethic, I think, is probably the thing that has stood me in the best stead. And I think I got that from my dad, to be honest. He's someone who worked extremely hard for his whole life. To be honest, even in retirement now, still works harder and puts the work ethic of some people to shame. And I think that stood me in good stead. I love work. I've always worked hard, and I'm grateful to him for that. Rich from Facebook Live. Hey, Andrew, how did you pitch and win the role to be Lord Sugar's spokesperson? What is the biggest thing you've learned from his approach to business? Well, the story of that, in a way, goes back to something I was just saying earlier. When we were about 3 months into Frank, we had the opportunity to pitch for one of his companies, which was Amstrad. We were so desperate to win that piece of business. It was a great opportunity for us early on. We actually lost the pitch. And when we got the feedback was they felt that we were too advanced in our thinking and they weren't ready for us. And we'd tried so hard, we'd sort of overcompensated and overcomplicated the process. And we were so upset and we just didn't want to let it go. So we picked up the phone and we begged and we said, look, we're very honest about it. We want this so much. We probably showed off and went a bit too far, but we can do the basics and give us a chance. And they felt sorry for us, I think, and they gave us the piece of business. And I got to know Lord Sugar sort of slowly over a period of time. It wasn't a kind of overnight thing. And as I'd meet him at product launches and events, we got talking, and slowly, I think when you work for someone personally, you build trust with one another, and that trust built, and then over time, it's just kind of gone on and gone on and gone on. In terms of his approach to business, I think probably the thing I have learned from him is that work-life balance. It's one of the most valuable things that I've seen in him. He's someone who is in his early 70s, doesn't need to work, has got plenty of money to last him for longer than he could hope for, but he enjoys work, and he's been obviously hugely successful and has all the trappings of success. So he's got the boat, the holiday homes, everything you could want, the planes, and he's always very, very quick to respond. If I send him an email, WhatsApp, phone him, he will get back to me within minutes, pretty much always. But at the same time, he's got the ability to be able to enjoy life, and it's something that I've always admired when I've seen him. He knows how to enjoy the success that he's built up. So he takes lots of time away. He's a brilliant family person. He has lots of hobbies: cycling, playing tennis, flying, and he manages to somehow do all of that and still continue running a very, very successful business empire. And for me, I really, really respect that. Firstly, the fact that he still works when he doesn't need to because he enjoys it. And secondly, that he doesn't do that to the detriment of enjoying all of the hard work that he's put in over his career. Justin from Facebook Messenger. I lost my job in June and was forced to start working as a freelancer. While I do not earn as much as my last job, I'm really enjoying the work I do. I'm not sure if I could start investing more into if I should start investing more into this freelance life or continue job hunting. Any advice on how to approach this dilemma? Well, look, Justin, firstly, I'm sorry you lost your job. If you're enjoying it, then carry on doing it. I think, one of the benefits of being a freelancer is it keeps your options open, and there's no reason why you can't start applying to full-time jobs if that's what you think you want to do whilst carrying on freelancing. But if you're making money and whilst you're freelancing, then you have the opportunity to sort of carry on doing both at the same time. And what you might find through freelancing is that you find a role that actually this could be something that I'd like to do permanently, and they might offer you something long term. I know from running a company, lots of the freelancers that we took on who said they never wanted to work full time, sort of fell in love with the agency and ended up staying. So I think just keep an open mind, keep your options open, and see what happens. That's the beauty of being a freelancer. I'm afraid that is all I've got time to answer. That's gone so quickly, and I hope I tried to get through as many questions as I could. I know there's some that have remained unanswered. I'm sorry about that. So what I'll do now is I will reveal the poll results that we asked you earlier on. And the question was, have you adapted the way you do business in 2020? So 33% of you said you've completely adapted the way you do business. 50% of you said you've adapted the way you do business to some extent. 17% said not at all. So I don't think that's completely surprising in terms of what I was expecting. I mean, great that you didn't need to adapt. Probably you were fortunate enough to be in an industry that didn't need adapting. And to those that have done it to some extent, which was half of you, I would say, for me, make sure that, well, certainly what I want to make sure is that when we come out of this pandemic, we take on board the learnings and the way we've adapted, and we come out quickly and strongly. We don't just go back to the old way that we used to do things and get back into those habits. Make sure you take those learnings and use them going forward. So on Monday, the 7th of December at 12 o'clock noon, Intuit QuickBooks is going to be hosting a webinar on the topic Small Business Trade Dialogue, Trading with the EU and Global Opportunities. And you're going to learn and get support from European small business experts on how to use trade as a tool to economic recovery and growth. And we will share the link to that so you can sign up in the live feed. It's sure to be very interesting. And on that note, I'd really just like to say thank you all for tuning in today. If you have any questions, then please get in touch with the QuickBooks support team. If you want to contact me, you can do so on LinkedIn, or you'll find me on Twitter at Andrew Bloch. Coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday is Johan Gori, who's a QuickBooks Pro advisor and a chartered manager. Johan's also the managing director of JGBC, that specialises in supporting small businesses as they start their business and undertake their journey, utilising cloud software to give them live data to steer their business with. And a reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. So on that note, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed answering your questions. I hope you've enjoyed listening and I've said something of some use. Hope you'll have a great weekend, and I hope to be back on here soon answering more questions. So thank you very much. That's all from me.